Thanks for your time. Hope you're doing good. Okay.
Yes, right. Yes.
All right. Um, okay. First of all, would like to get some introduction about yourself. Give me a brief introduction about you. Don't take more than 3-4 minutes of your time. You can explain about your project, tech skills, a short introduction. Go ahead.
Yes, Rajesh. So I have around 11.5 years of experience, overall 8 years of experience. In around 11.5, I have around 7 years in data engineering tech stacks. So for past 2.5 years, I'm working for Citibank, where we work for wealth management line of business, which specifically handles the margin lending, which is nothing but giving the loan against your portfolio and how your portfolio did in uh, past and how the particular stocks are did in past. So based upon this, we will provide the loans within like 3 to 10 seconds of time. So this for here, for past 2.5 years, I'm using tech stack. Majorly, I'm using Java Spark, and for storage layers, I'm using Oracle tables and DBs and views and materialized views. So, and apart from that, this is a whole app application which is been provided to the tellers sitting in the New York region. So we have engine component which calculates these values, and UI component which shows all these values. My roles and responsibility is to take the data from the Bloomberg and SMC systems and enforce the schema, do the data validation and any ETL process, like mostly business logic, then load them into staging layer. Once we have load them into staging layer, we will load into the target tables. So apart from this, how my Spark runs is we have OpenShift Kubernetes parts. It's a microservices. So what we have done is almost everyone in my team are from Java developers. So we don't want to disturb the ecosystem. So what we did is we brought in the Spark flavor alone. So remaining everything as it is. So what we do is we take the data from the CSV, process them on we have Spring Boot, which Spring Boot runs in the microservices, and we submit our Spark applications based upon the file arrival. So otherwise, the same pod, the same region is used by other services like what I told you earlier, engine and the UI components.
Good to hear. Thank you. Thanks for the brief introduction. Okay. I understand that you're working in Spark, Java, Spring Boot, microservices. Any cloud services that you have been working in?
Yes, Rajesh. So I have started my migration. It is like lift and shift migration into the AWS. So for past 7 to 8 months, I have been given a free hand to explore opportunities to move the ingestion part and the whole application part to the AWS. So it is majorly done to reduce the cost and the dependency on the other services like your OpenShift and the DevOps people. It is basically done to cut the cost. So from data ingestion and Spark perspective, I'm working on this migration. First, we started this as a lift and shift model, but later on, whenever we moved into the AWS and started exploring, we understood like it is not like typical lift and shift. It needs some refactoring of the code. It's like partially it's a migration part.
Migration part. I understand. And you talked about Java Spark. So how about PySpark as well? You have good experience?
Yes, PySpark I have experience. I have worked prior to JavaSpark. I worked on PySpark, and Scala was very long back. But yes, I do have knowledge.
Okay, that's good to hear. Thank you. Okay, now let me get into some technical question. I understand that you work with some of the cloud services, which is very essential for your banking application, which is good. Let's say you have some data in a database, Postgres or MySQL. The scenario is you want to ingest the data from your RDBMS daily with a daily load of 10 GB data. You may get duplicate data. You may get some junk data. And you want to simply ingest the data from your source RDBMS to your S3 bucket. Okay, and hope the target is S3 bucket, but you want to again do a data visualization in your Redshift layer. And before that, you want to do all such transformations and all those things like removing duplicates and all those steps. Do a simple thing. Let's understand this is the source and this is the target. And I want a simple design and also some kind of coding to how to remove duplicates from the source data. Okay, assume that from your source data you have duplicates. Don't try to remove duplicates in your source. Rather, what you do, try to ingest the data into your AWS layer and try to remove duplicates using some services. You can talk about those things. Okay, assume that the file is a CSV file. Incoming file is going to be a CSV file.
All right.
Any
So
questions?
no, Rajesh, I'm all good. So I can give you two versions. One is my on-prem, how I do in my on-prem. One is once the CSV is arrived, I will have a master table. So I will have to join along with my master table and see whether whatever I have received is the data is right or not. So according to that, I can filter out the by using inner join and other methods, like for example, what is the key column. So if there are like 10 key columns, I can drop the duplicates from it. That is one way. But from loading from RDBMS to S3, I have to invoke some either a cron job or a Airflow. So both what we will do is we will extract from RDBMS and load them into the S3 object. So while I'm doing this itself, I can take a distinct of all these string of columns, and I can if it is a too much of a data, then it is not good to go ahead with doing all this in Airflow itself. So what I can do is I can load them as a S3 bucket. Then I can apply a DynamoDB and delete my all my. I mean, I take only the distinct records from the table. But again, if the data is too much beyond 10 GB, that is the definite way. But for lesser than like 8 GB or 5 GB, we can do it in DAG itself.
Okay, which is very good. Good scenario for that. Okay, can you also write me the code to read a Parquet file? Okay, my question is, let's say you are doing some transformations. You are trying to read a Parquet file, and you want to save the output file as a CSV, but assume that you are trying to save the file in thousands of files. Okay, let's say like your output files, the number of output files is going to be 1000 or 1500 like that. But I don't want that. I want to have only 4 output files in my output in your S3 bucket. Bucket can be anything. Simple. In short, you do some transformations, and then the output needs to be, the number of files needs to be only 4. So what technique that you would use? Can you write and show me?
One more.
Hope you understand the question.
Yes. So can I do this in Spark?
Yes, of course. You can try using PySpark.
All right. So I will assume my Spark is already initiated. Spark context was initiated in Spark variable, like when so I will apply some ETL here. Transformations, sorry, only transformation. So once it is done, df dot write dot CSV wanted 4 files. I can do something like this, Suresh.
Okay, good. Sounds good. All right. Okay. So have you used extensively Python in your project? How extend you used?
Uh, Python, apart from the loops and other the basic ones, I have not used the advanced ones.
How about pandas?
Uh, Pandas, I don't have much knowledge. I know how Pandas works. Like it is a typical way of how PySpark also works. But Pandas is written only. Pandas is written considering the visualization part, and it runs on one single node. So it is very effective for visualization purposes. But when it comes to pushing the data from one end to another end, writing them, or with a distributed system, we have to definitely fall back to Spark. So in my project, there are two files. One is Forex data. Forex data is not going to change for for a particular currency for whole day. So what we do is we take that in Pandas DF, and we do some basic checks like a removal of patterns and then removal of duplicate records. Then we load them back. So this doesn't require. We don't have to invoke the Spark together. So this is some Pandas which we use. This is what I've been using Pandas for.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Okay, let me give you a scenario where typically you're working in a PySpark project. Assume that there are like tons of data you are ingesting into your layer like S3 or DynamoDB or whatever. Okay, daily on a regular basis. You're writing a PySpark code, which is essentially correct, good, moving good, daily running so good. But unfortunately, one sudden day, the job is not getting completed. It's taking more time. Let's say the job is about to complete in 2 hours. It's stuck in 4, 5 hours, 6 hours, but still not yet completed. What could be the reason behind? And if so, how do you identify it basically, and how do you mitigate this issue typically? What kind of steps that you approach for this?
All right. So, Rajesh, in my project, what we do is we have email communication going on. So, whenever a particular job is initiated and completed, we will trigger the email to all the stakeholders. So, let's say I got a job which is initiated now, but I would definitely, as a project manager, I will expect it to be completed in next 2 to 2.5 hours. And if it is not completed, we will look into the further investigation. So what we do is typically the first step is always go to Spark UI, look for the storage and executor tab for that particular job ID, and it will give you an idea of whether a particular partition is taking too longer, or a particular partition is having unbalanced number of key columns in it. Basically, let's say there are 200 partitions, and 199 are very, very smaller partitions, and one is very huge. So this will definitely is going to take some time, because all your other processes have been completed. So how we can approach this is basically a performance issue. What we can do is there are multiple ways how we can do it. The very first step is like the broadcasting of a smaller table and other such stuffs. But when it comes to my particular project, this we cannot do, because this is all market data, and we can expect some volatility in the data itself. So to overcome this, what I have done is I have started using Spark 3.x. So I have by default included and enabled the adaptive query execution. So there are what adaptive query does is it has its own it uses the plan while in the flight. So, and it optimizes the plan basically when the Spark is running. But before that 3.x, it was not that way. So, and also it coalesces the smaller partitions. It coalesces the partitions according to the need of the job. So, and then it also handles the skew between the joint columns. So otherwise, how we can do manually prior to this 3-point axis, what we can do is we can do a sorting, which is like adding a random numbers to your existing key column and for both the left and right tables and join them. That is one way. Or else you can do bucketing, which will give you equal sized files, so that again you can join between the tables. This is a major thing what I'm doing in my project. I don't do sorting and other things, but otherwise I will have to look on the functional end of so there are two key columns, majorly two key columns for my stock data. So what happens is both my key columns has their own different scenarios behind them. So like key one is my ISIN, which is my international security identification number, and another is QSEL. So what happens is both has different scenarios. Like if my ISIN key one is null, my key two should have value, and it should be only from the particular exchanges. So likewise, we have 5 scenarios for this. So what we have to do is I cannot go for key one and key two, or a key one or key two. So likewise, I cannot join and find what is the new securities, what is the older security. So what I do is I do join them on the first. I do a 2 level of joins, key one and key one, and whatever is remaining based upon key two and key two, and then I will do my own set of scenarios. That is one way. Second way is I will try to do. I will try to get only the needed columns. What I'm doing right now is I'm creating a row numbers for the whole data set, and I take only the selected columns and I will leave the other columns. It's basically pruning but with AQE, this pruning will happen automatically. And the third thing is moving my filters very closer to the data sets. So this way, it is like funneling of the data. So whenever my data flows through the pipeline, and even during the transformation, whatever I need is what is going to flow through the next steps. So the final DF will have only what I am needed and what is the business was wanted.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Shamir. Thanks for explaining very deeply. Good to hear. Okay, all right. Let's move to the next question. I have just pinged in the chat window. Can you take the question? It's from Python. Now go to the right side, extreme right below. Yeah. All right. Yep. So here we go. We have a simple list here with a couple of numbers where we see like more duplicates as well, like 2 and 9. I would like to ask you 3 questions from here. One is, on a range of 1 to 10, can you check which numbers are missing? Of course, the numbers are going to be 3, 4, 7, 8, right? That's
Yes.
question number 1. Second is, check what are all the numbers which are duplicate. Third is, see which number is the maximum, highest number.
Okay.
You can write a function and then write the logic inside that function. Try to include exceptions as well. Let's say you have got some unbound exceptions. Okay, you need to catch it using exceptions here. You need to raise an exception here. Go ahead.
Okay, so for max of value from a list, I can simply so let's say I can have a variable max number is equal to max of my list 1. So this will give me the maximum from this particular list. But what happens is if by any chance, if this list has string, that string will be excluded and only the numbers will be considered. But so this is pretty straightforward. And otherwise, if I wanted to do So this is for max value, this function. And the second question is for finding the duplicates. Rajesh, is it finding duplicates?
Yes, yes. To find out the duplicate value from the list. Yes, go ahead.
It's again, it's a list. Mm. For this, what I can do is I can again the straightforward way is to put this list in a set. So what it will do is it will remove the duplicates by default. But otherwise, like
I don't want to
so
do have that one.
yes,
That's
correct, correct.
pretty straightforward. Yep.
Yes. So for duplicates, I'm getting a list and try method. Mm, uh, mm, Again, I can put a set. I will declare dupe as my set uh, for I LST. Uh, okay, so if LST of I is in dupe, then uh, break. Uh, and this will break if this is present in dupe. Else, mm, it will add LST of I. So return so this will return my dupe. And again, I can use my exception here. This will do that. And the missing numbers. Uh, Yes, Rajesh. So these are those three functions.
Okay, sounds good. Why are we using a break? Line number 25.
So if it is to come out of this for loop, I mean, inside, it is to come out of this for loop and again continue with the next iterator.
Okay, so what if you don't use break inside? Won't it
Maybe
execute itself?
what I can do is, or else what I have to do is, it's very simple. I can do is not in, then remove only this part. Let's not get the else part.
Okay, got it. All right. Thanks for the answer. All right, let's move on with the next question. Thanks, Shamir.
Yes,
Let's get some, insights from SQL. Okay, can you get some
yes,
questions from the same
yes,
chat
sir.
window? Yep. All right. Yes, we are trying to query from sales database. So there is a table called sales that records all the transactions, date, amounts, volume, etc. Anything related to sales. I'm sorry. What you want to do is simply write a SQL query to calculate the average monthly sales for the current year. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Don't try to hard code any values. Use as much as inbuilt functions you can take it from SQL. Go ahead and try to optimize your query.
Sure. Yes. So let's start from sales. So what you want is the database where so sales date. Uh, Yes, Rajesh.
Okay, we're trying to write a CTE. Okay, what is the prod ID here?
So prod ID is nothing but product ID. So what I'm doing is for every product ID, I'm trying to take average sale amount. But what I can do is maybe I can avoid this per month. I can do like this. So for per month, what is the average sale amount?
Okay, we're trying to extract the month from the sale date. Okay,
And as well as the year as well. So that I have got that as a separate expression in sales year. And from sales year, I am where year is equal to, I am taking from the current system date.
Hmm.
And if for that year, I am grouping by with month and I'm taking the average sales amount.
Excellent. Good. All right. Good, good, good. So are you also using window functions in your project anywhere?
Yes, Rajesh. So window functions are majorly what we use is the lead, the lag, and the rank functions. So I am using rank extensively. So like when was this particular security was bought by a particular person, and when was this sold? This basically tells us the fraud detection. So if the gap between the security bought and sold is within 15 minutes, then that is definitely a fraud detection. So that is where I use my lead method. But that is you might think like this is a stock data that's going to be very huge, but when it comes to my project, it's only for high net worth individual. So let's say if that individual is having more than 3 million to the bracket of 15 million. Above 15 million is a different line of business. That is like, personal bankers. So here we handle only between this range. So when it comes to the number of securities bought and sold and the number of individuals are very less. So all these data we get from the Bloomberg. So Bloomberg and SMC are go to the guys. So let's say you, Rajesh, you are in India and you wanted to do trading in Australian market and as well as in Singapore market from the same account as a Citi customer. But somehow, let's say you are pumping money in crude oil stocks, both in Australia and Singapore, but within 15 minutes of gap, that is definitely something wrong because somehow you got an insider information which is not allowed. So all these fraud detection also we will have to deduct. Have you done? I mean, but we don't report. We will send the report as a small CSV back to the other downstream system. But otherwise, we will keep on going. This is it will put under your risk whenever we try to provide a loan. All these will be captured in our application.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sounds good, Shamir. Thank you. Okay, so now I want to understand some kind of designing skills from you. Let's say you have to, ingest daily 1 terabytes of data from an external API or data sources, whichever you try to take. Okay,
Okay.
which approach would be good to go with Glue or EMR? Which one you prefer? And can you justify it? Which service that you go? The assumption is daily you want to ingest 1 terabytes of data. It's not going to be a streaming data. It's going to be a batch ingestion. So which approach you will go? Either you go to EMR or Glue.
All right. So are we going to do any transformations in this data?
No, we don't have any transformations at the basic level.
So, okay. So the major difference between Glue and EMR is EMR itself has uh, the servers in the behind the scenes. So bringing the spinning up the servers and paying for them is a different scenario. But whereas if I will go for EMR only if I'm having very huge or large sets of data with transformation, heavy transformation, like a lot of joins and shuffles. But for this purpose, ingesting from one end to one end, I will definitely go for it. So it is basically serverless, and it is going to be, and Glue has its own Glue context. So what I can do is I can take a leverage of those Glue contexts and take the data and load them back into this other layer.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. I'd like to know, like, what. Okay, there is a noise behind. Okay. I'd like to know what kind of data quality checks that you did in your project. Assume that you have a Parquet file. Okay, you don't have a CSV. Of course, CSV is very lightweight, right? No, but still, you're trying to ingest data into a Parquet format, and what kind of DQ checks that you can do regularly?
Okay, so again, as I told you, this is a stock market, but the end customer is high net worth individual, so I don't want to show them the false information. So what we do is the data what we get from Bloomberg is somewhat messed up, so we have to try to clean up the data. So very first check is we will look for my key one and key two. Does key one has any null values? And if my key one has null values, does my key two has a particular pattern in it or not? So this is business specific functional data quality. And second thing is we have like different sets of bonds. There is government bonds, COCO bonds, preferred bonds, and all those stuffs. So we have to check whether we have got data for all these securities or not. And that is again functional ones. And the third thing is that the basic ones are like I shouldn't be getting any strings in a numeric column. And I'm expecting something in a particular column. I am expecting something like 15 characters that has to be present there. It's basically pattern matching, and that particular pattern, like your SSN should have like 3 characters, hyphen 3 characters, and something like we have same thing in our project. So that is all basic checks. So apart from this data quality checks, I don't do any other the general ones. Rajesh, hello.
Yes, that sounds good. How good are you at Hadoop? Hadoop basics?
It's been a while I have worked on Hadoop, but let's try that.
Okay. Do you know how to kill a Hadoop job using command?
So we have to identify the job ID and then kill. No, Rajesh, I am not aware.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's say you're trying to use a lot of AWS services. I understand. 2 things. One, you identified that there is an issue. There is a bottleneck. Okay. There is a design flaw. How do you approach this? The system is completely designed by an architect who is also a team member. But still, as a developer, you try to notice that there is something lagging when you do a compare between your on-prem and your cloud system. You feel like, on-prem is feeling much better, comfortable, rather than doing good at cloud. How do you see this problem? How do you approach this failure? I don't want to call this as failure. How to approach this as one issue, as an issue, and how do you approach this with your architect, and how do you give a solution for this? Okay, let me elaborate. You identify some issue in your AWS services, and you want to, demonstrate this to an architect, and also you want to give a solution for that. How do you approach?
So the one of the possible way is to try to reproduce that issue in the on-prem, and again compare it between the whether with the performance or with the cost, or just try to compare them and take the results out and showcase it to your architect. Maybe that will convince the architect to accept that as, in fact, there is some problem with the solution what we have provided to the client, and we can go back to the whiteboard again and try to resolve it. It's basically everything lies under with the proper proofs and POCs.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. How do you notify your communications to your stakeholders about your job success or status or whatever?
Okay, so we have something like called reconciliation. So what we do is right now we are majorly operating on 3 asset classes like equity, mutual fund, and fixed incomes. So we want to understand what is the sub levels in all these asset classes. We have 3 levels. So all these data to put together in an email, and we send it out as an email to all our stakeholders that this particular file we got it at this time, and this was the ingestion status, and this is how many the data has been ingested, and this is the failure count, this is the success count. All these data we put together, and so this is what we do is an on-prem. Even in AWS, we send that using SES email services. We send that out as an email to all our stakeholders.
Okay. All right. I would like to know about your configuration of your cluster. So how good are your, production cluster?
Okay, so when it comes to the cluster, we don't have a cluster. As I said earlier, it's a microservices. So what we do is it runs on a Kubernetes. So what we do is there is one single pod, which is whenever I try to merge my feature branch with my release branch, Jenkins will automatically deploy a pod, and it will keep the Spring Boot up and running. So from there, I will submit my Spark applications. So what happens is the moment I submit my Spark application, I have an image of a particular what are all the services need to be there in the particular pod that is already created. Like for this particular pod, we needed the Spark, and that image is already been sent. So apart from that, we will configure the number of executors, number of drivers. The number of driver is always 1, and the memory for this driver gets changed. So what I have done is I have 3 configurations level of settings, and driver memory ranges between 1 GB till 4 GB, and executors I have from 8 to 16. So whenever I get a file of something where around 20 GB of file, it will always take the highest configuration. This is where my one single pod gets spawned into 8 or 16 pods, and these are all the pods will become my executors. So the one pod which will interact with Kubernetes, it will get all these pod spawns, and this driver is going to conduct the whole execution. So the size of these pods, and again, the executor memory is always set to 8 GB, and one single executor will have 4 cores in it. So in total, if let's say I have 16 executors, that is like 64 cores. So that means I will keep my I have kept my 3 tasks per execute. I mean per partition. So like if 3 partitions per core. So that way I will split my it is all dynamic partitions happening.
Okay, sounds good, Shamir. Thank you.
Yes,
Have you done any unit testing for your Python? What kind of frameworks have you ever been used?
No, Rajesh, I have not done the unit testing.
Okay. So are you using a sprint model to release your applications?
Sorry, Rajesh, what
kind of releases? So like, you focus on sprint delivery. Do you have an agile?
Correct. Agile methodology. So my sprint is per month. 1 month we have one sprint. Now we are we have stabilized everything, our application, and now we have started taking up other asset classes. It basically stock market has around 120 plus asset classes. So we have started taking the major three ones we have already covered. So now, since our application is more stable and we are also looking for a global release, we have reduced our sprints to 2 weeks per once release.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Shami. All right, I'm done with the interview. Thanks for your time.
Yes,
Nice talking with you. We'll see you soon. We'll pass on the feedback. Okay.
Thanks, Rajesh. Thanks.
Take care.